It's Wednesday, February the 28th. Lake level's a little over 912. It's been dropping pretty consistent. It's been real dry. We're about 3 foot below normal winter pool. Water temperatures are anywhere from the high 40s to the low 50s. And the lake has really been showing out here lately. The last couple weekends, there's been tons of big fish being caught. All the tournaments, if you look, there's been 4 or 5 stringers over 20 pounds in each event. And, it's taking 17, 18 pounds to get a check. And if you look further on down, 30th, 40th place, 13, 14 pounds. So a lot of fish on the move. We're only a few weeks away from them fish starting to move up to spawn, depending on the temperature, but probably another 3, maybe 4 weeks, we'll start seeing some fish on beds. So a lot of them fish are starting to move up, higher in the water column. There's still a bunch of them out there deep. A lot of different ways you can catch them, but I think still the most consistent and a lot of the bigger fish still out over that deep water. But I'm finding the shad higher up in the water column. A lot of the Demiki style baits, Alabama rig, catching a lot of big fish. I've talked to guys that are catching them up there shallow on glide baits. It seems like you get over that 50-degree water temperature, especially where we've had, like this past weekend, we've had several days of real nice, consistent weather. Even though them fish are 3 or 4 weeks away from moving up, there'll be some big ones coming in, checking out where they're going to spawn around some of the docks. It's just the consistent weather, will help move them fish up. But a lot of them fish out there deep, still a lot of the Demiki style baits are working real well, like a missile bait, spunk shad, big bite jerk minnows, a missile shockwave, and even 2.8 Kitex or 3.3. The only thing I'll start doing this time of year as the fish move up higher in the water column, I'll start throwing lighter heads. In the middle of the winter, we were throwing a lot of 1/2 ounce and 5/8 heads. Get the bait down, because a lot of them fish were down there 50, 60, even 70 foot. But as the bait starts moving up higher in the water column, the fish will follow them. I'll use anywhere from an 1/8 ounce, 3/16 or 1/4 ounce head, depending on how deep the fish are, and depends on the wind too. Now this past weekend, you had really good conditions for fishing out there over the deep structure. Yesterday I was out, the wind blew like crazy, so it was kind of hard to fish out in the middle of the lake. But, a lot of the fish are, relating to bluffs, bluff ends. And what I like to look for this time of year is I like to find where the fish are going to spawn, where they're going to be in a few weeks. And then I just start backing out. And, channel swings are really important, whether you're in a creek or out on the main lake. Them fish, they're still not moving real fast. But as they come up out of that deep water, they've been living in them deeper channels. So you want to look for places where the fish don't have to go too far to get up to the bank. And channel swings are ideal places, like I say, whether they're on the main lake or in the creeks themselves. And I'll just start milling around, looking for bait, looking for fish in them areas. As the water warms up, like I say, yesterday the wind blew like crazy, so I threw a crankbait and a jerkbait quite a bit. Now I'm catching some 3.5 pounders, but I'm not catching the quality that some of these guys have been in the tournaments. A buddy of mine caught a 7.5 pounder yesterday on a little Demiki rig out there on a bluff end, underneath shad. And you'll still see big schools of shad, and like I say, I keep saying they're higher up in the water column, so the fish are up there higher with them. So, like I say, a lot of times I like to just back out from the spawning areas, and the baits I'll use will depend on the weather conditions and where I'm seeing, bait. Ideally, I like to fish shallow. I like to throw a crankbait and a jerkbait this time of year. And I like to fish a lot of reds on my crankbaits. It just seems to be a spring deal. Something with a little red, maybe a green pumpkin in it. You know, I'm throwing a rock crawler, a wiggle wart will work as well, like a Strike King Series 3, Fritz side. But I'm not getting a lot of, you know, when I get further up the river, I'm catching a lot more males on the crankbait and the jerkbait. Now mid-lake, I am catching some quality fish on jerkbaits. And I'm throwing a lot of shad colors because, like I say, the water's real clear. If it's cloudy, I'll throw this Norman flake with a little chartreuse on the side. And these fish are coming off of, you know, cedar trees, the jerkbait fish, just outside of the areas where they're going to spawn. But I haven't found a lot of them yet. I got to fish a lot of trees just to get a few bites on the jerkbait. And on the crankbait, if you get on a bank where you get one bite, you usually get several bites. But there again, I haven't been catching the monsters that some of these guys have been catching. I think there's some big ones up shallow. It's just not a lot of them. I think they're coming. The only thing big we've caught lately, we caught about a 90-pound spoonbill on an A-rig day before yesterday. But, I mean, it's getting close to them fish, you know, moving up in there around the docks. There's still going to be a lot of fish out there deep for, you know, quite some time, up until even during the spawn. There'll be, when the fish come in to spawn, there's still going to be a lot of them out there over that deep water. And like I said, you want to look for the channel swings. They got the deeper timber, conservation brush piles. And this is the time of year, you know, I've seen pictures on Facebook the past week and a half with at least 2 fish over 9 pounds. This is the time of year that, you know, the big ones are catchable because they're moving up out of that deep water, the spawn. So weather permitting, as long, you know, it's cold right now, but it's supposed to warm back up again. It's just going to continue to get, you know, better and better. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.